Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Entitled Parents. Story 1. Entitled Mother leaves her children in the kids section of a department store. We're going back in time to 2004, when I worked at a chain department store. Let's just call it Le Bonbon, haha. I was 22Y/0 at the time and floated between the departments. That evening, I was covering the kids department by myself, facing and folding, fixing the tables, checking the changing rooms, etc. A woman with 3 small children, let's say, 3, 5, and 7 if I had to guess, was at a table pulling out shirts to hold them up and then tossing them back in crumpled heaps, forming a pile. Her kids joined in, making a mess as well. Ugh! I'd have to straighten and fix the entire table. The woman and her kids move along. I fix the table, which takes some time, before returning to the counter. I hear kids laughing and shrieking. Close to the counter in the kids section, we had a little round sitting area facing a wall of TVs. Various kid-friendly shows played on low volume on each screen. It was a chaotic scene to behold. The 3 kids were there jumping and climbing all over the short benches. No mother in sight. I do a quick search and cannot find her. I get my manager next. LP is pulled in. We talk to the kids, who are super hyper, to get their mother's name. We call her over the loudspeaker. We wait. No one comes. Our LP contacts mall security. They call her over their loudspeaker. 10 minutes later, she comes storming in, furious, a bag from another store and a huge cup from the food court in her hands. She demands to know why we called her. We explain the situation with her kids being left unattended in our store. She flips out, stating that the girl, she points at me, is there to watch kids in the kids section, and that's why there's a big wall of TVs there. It's so mothers can go shopping stress-free. LP and my manager tell her that's now how it works. She asks if we have any idea what it's like to go out shopping with 3 young kids in tow. She is frothing at the mouth. At this point, her kids are tearing up tables again, running and screaming, having a blast. She is asked to leave and throws her cup of soda at the floor. Before we can do anything else, she grabs up her smallest child and shrieks at them that they are leaving. Le Bonbon is the most horrible place ever and she'll be calling corporate about our misconduct. It's been 20 years. Sometimes I still wonder how those kids turned out. Story 2. Mom upset. I have friends and plans. Asterisk indicates footnotes. For reference, I am F21, almost 22, living at home until the semester starts in a month. I have plans to go to a barbecue tomorrow in New Jersey. I am in New York, so that's quite close. It's during the day, I have a ride there and back. My mom went on a tangent on how I trust people too easily. This is odd considering she thinks I'm going with one of my closest college friends. We met early 2019. I'll refer to this friend as Blue. Blue's parents have driven me to our college that's 7 hours away on multiple occasions. Blue has been there at my darkest and most vulnerable moments and vice versa. I have even taken care of Blue's pet during an emergency and brought them home with me, amongst many other events. My mom brought up something really traumatic that happened to Blue as a kid and brought up how Blue could eventually allow it to happen to me out of spite. This is about SA. I responded by saying that everyone has some form of trauma, so there really is no point to live in the constant fear that they'll do it to you. She proceeded to tell me that as I live under her roof, I need to abide by her rules. That is valid, however I'm technically not doing anything I'm not allowed to. She also brought up how she's not capable of going to help me in the case of an emergency because I'll be too far, 40 minutes, and I had to remind her that this applies to literally any time ever when I'm away from her. This offended her and she immediately assumed I was questioning her authority as a mom for letting me go to school so far. She proceeded to tell me that I act like I know everything. So far, it appears that she's just a worried parent, but that's not the case. I told her I'd be gone from 3 to 8. I am 21 years old. It occurred to me that she was projecting her own views onto my friend Blue. She went off about how when she was my age, she never got to go out with friends and never disrespected her mother by trying to see her friends the way I do. She thinks it's so unfair that I have friends and get to see them. To be clear, I don't even see my friends that often. The last time I actually went out to see them was the 4th of July and she doesn't even know about that. She thinks it was in like June, which makes this even worse. I guess it is safe to say that because she's actively inflicting her trauma on me, she's assuming that everyone does this, which is why she's warning me of Blue doing the same. Kind of funny how narcissists think that everyone shares their twisted ways of thinking because they genuinely think it is normal. She also went off about how she can't do anything because of me going out. She said that she now has to sit on the couch and wait around all day for me to get home. That's literally not the case. She does that regardless. She goes to work and then does nothing because she has no friends to go out with in the first place. Lastly, she also brought up how everyone else my age is way ahead of me, starting their own businesses and having great jobs, while I just care about going out to see my friends and waste my life away working on the corner. I work retail over the summer. To make things worse, she's expecting me to write a 1,000-word essay on her behalf tonight about her work experience because she's my mom and has sacrificed so much for me. Asterisk, she thinks that because if I told her I was going with my other friends, the reaction would be significantly worse. It's the equivalent of telling your parents you'll be that friend who they trust. Story 3. My school excused my dad's abuse. I posted this onto another subreddit, but this happened. I got the bus due to chronic fatigue worsening when exerting myself, and even getting up is a struggle and feels so debilitating. Despite this, I've never missed my bus until now. AMD, it's because he fucking put the key in the cabinet. And I yelled at him via phone. AO, he picked me up and told me to never yell at him and to shut my mouth, and when I tried talking to him, he told me to shut my mouth or he'll drop me off. What happened afterwards, near the end when we were at school, I recorded and I called him out for threatening to make me walk to school, and he said if I keep talking he's gonna bring me home and make me walk back, even though I have hypermobility. He said he's not standing for how I treat him because I've been raging at him more often, and then he got mad and accused me of not saying hello, even though I do forget OFC, but was once told, and got mad that I never said thank you whenever he picks/drops me off. And he said he doesn't have to take me to school, and when I mentioned he had to because he put the key in the cabinet, he said it was my fault, and he then decided to drop me off and harshly told me, just go. I ended the recording there. After some heated exchanges, I told him whatever and yelled I hate you and had a mental breakdown at school and went to the office to report it. I cried and raged, and countless people like the principal, my guidance counselor. Some others were there, and I told them the incident. My guidance counselor kept telling not to cry, it's all rocked, it's not a big deal, while I am having a mental breakdown. I screamed the shit out of her for every time she emotionally invalidated me. I showed them the recording, and when one of them called my mom, they said it was a normal disagreement. I then raged, cursed, and said harsh things, including saying that my dad should die. The ALS told me a bit after the call to be careful what I say because they can't prove it, and they mentioned the shit I mentioned like sexual abuse, CPS visits needs to be proven or whatever. Then I go to a room with my guidance counselor, and afterwards I got taken to another room and talked to a lady about everything, and then the social worker came, and as soon as I came up to the thank you and hello part came up, they saw my school info and probably my diagnosis on the IEP and whispered loudly she's on the spectrum in this semi-gossipy way. Then my mom and support facilitator and some PF the same adults from the recording come, and they all agreed it wasn't a big deal, and the social worker even said she'd do the same because in her mind, I need to respect my dad, and he, and she, isn't entitled to pick me up if I yell PR get mad regardless of chronic health issues. I even told her about my joint hypermobility and the fact I could dislocate my joints. They said they're trying to help, but they literally hate me because I'm disabled. My mom even said I blame everyone but myself, even though they don't take accountability, and downplayed my health issues. They only focused on how calm my dad was and texted some psychiatric services to my mom for my mental breakdown, but that's it. They sent me home for a mental breakdown despite me saying I don't feel safe with my dad. They even identified that I'm usually able to control myself in class, but get triggered by my dad. And on the way home my mom told me, as usual when it happens, that in the real world, no one has these breakdowns and that it's immature and blah blah blah. And then when I called her out for letting my dad stay in the home even after sexually assaulting me, she excused it because it was when I was 13 and it was the only time and to assume it was a mistake like he said. I went home, and had a mental breakdown and was close to attempting suicide. I'm literally still stressed RN and I hate that no authority figure will care enough to put an end. Edit. Now they put a rule in affect where I have to always say hello or good xing/noon when I see them, please every time I ask for anything, even being dropped and picked up if needed, and thank you afterwards. The way my dad never enforced this and is mad that I didn't do all those. I only really did the high part, but would sometimes forget BC I'm autistic but I'd at least try to, and if reminded that I forgot, I would do so. Now it's strictly enforced for even things like helping me get to school when needed and I don't know how to feel about it. Also my dad kept saying he always calms me down when I have a meltdown but he has never been doing it recently, and when I told him he hasn't, he said it's because I have to take accountability. Even though he obviously realizes I'm literally having a trauma response, and he told me he will never stop speaking to me harshly for that reason, and he keeps fucking blaming me for missing the bus when it is literally painful to stand in the morning, but I still would have been to the bus on time if he had the key not in the cabinet. He doesn't take accountability yet I'm somehow wrong for being severely disabled. Fuck my parents, they are so annoying. He just thinks I can power my way through being emotionally unstable. Like if he realized that whenever he gives me breakdowns/meltdowns I get suicidal or significant anxiety, he would fucking yell at me and maybe slap me for being suicidal. Story 4. Only 1 week until I leave. I, 21F, leave for the fall semester on Friday, August 25th. I actually also turn 22 on Sunday, August 27th. School is 6 to 7 hours away. I went out to see my sister and her friends, and then some of my own friends from the city I live in, as I won't see them for a bit when I'm gone. I am in NYC and anyone who lives here knows how unreliable the MTA can be. It took me about an hour and a half to get home yesterday as my train isn't running to my stop or the stop I was coming from. I ended up getting home around 10:30 p.m. and kept open communication with my mom about my Ada. For reference, she doesn't even know I saw my sister, as they are no contact and have been since my sister was in single digits of age. I reconnected with my sister this summer and mom doesn't know that. She just thought I was with my high school best friend all day. When I got home, she's sitting there pissed. I just ignored her and went straight to my room. Next thing I knew, I'm getting lectured. Apparently I disrespect her by going out to be in the streets all day. She claimed she never disrespected her mom like this by coming home so late. The wild thing is she did worse, she got pregnant by 19. She also made the comment that she's going to start going out with her friends so I can see how it feels. There are 2 problems with that. 1, she barely has friends since she's so shitty. 2, I would be indifferent to her seeing her friends. It's not like we really even interact when we're home together unless she's using me as her personal therapist. She then proceeded to tell me she can't wait until I move out and move on so I can leave her alone and she doesn't have to worry about me being out. To this I responded that she doesn't have to worry about me anymore as I'm literally leaving in a week. That pissed her off more and she took offense in my rubbing in that I'm leaving soon. She proceeded to call me ungrateful and kept going and going until I literally had to tell her I don't care. That only made things worse as I hurt her feelings more. I just walked away back to my room and texted friends as I calmed down. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.